Scientists in Delaware are combating the spotted lanternfly. Corcoran got hacked, and Peloton's lawsuit just got doubled. Tune in to Toole Time right now. Welcome back to Toole Time. I'm Tom Toole. She is Jess Lion. We are here with some interesting stories today. I'll let you say hello next time a little better.
I don't sound that great today, so it's okay.
All right. We'll get you some Luden's cough drops here. So, interesting stuff going on today. Locally, the spotted lanternfly. I just saw one of these for the first time a couple days ago.
Me too.
And if you don't know what the spotted lanternfly is, it's a plant hopper that's indigenous to China, India, and Vietnam. And it lays eggs on trees, and it will attack fruit trees specifically. And it is now in our area, and it attacks the trees, and then it uses like a piercing to feed on the sap, the branches, the twigs. It leaves wounds on the trees. This is a real problem for our local climate here.
Yeah, real big.
And what's happened is we've got these scientists in Delaware that they're inside a quarantined lab in Newark, and they believe they found a solution that there's two types of wasps that are natural enemies of the lanternfly in China, and they are trying to combat them. So what do you think about all this?
I mean, it sounds like a sci-fi movie to me. It sounds like something like an invasion thriller film. But I was reading through some of the articles, and like you're saying, they feed on fruit-bearing trees. They love grapes. It's a real problem for a lot of our farmers. So, I mean, that is a huge issue. And I was reading on what these wasps are going to do. They're not huge wasps. They're about the size of a fingernail. And they don't sting people. They won't sting your pet. They're really just going to go after these lanternflies, which I haven't even, like you said, I haven't even seen them yet, only on like one house. So I think if these wasps are going to take out the bad guy, take out the bad fly, that's pretty good, then definitely bring them in. Why not? Because it's going to be a huge problem. And I think you could honestly solve it because Val was saying like they love grapes, which would like affect wine and everything like that. You like put that message out there that like no more wine if these lanternflies keep on coming through. The problem will get solved very quickly.
I don't know that it's that easy. I mean, the
You'd
research with these wasps, I mean, yeah, people are going to get more up in arms about it. That's for sure. But most of the wine is imported anyway. I mean, it's not like a lot of wine that gets.
It'd be funny.
Is from Pennsylvania or Delaware, or New Jersey. There's some. So these wasps, they're still in the cocoon stages right now, and it's going to be about 3 years before they're approved to get released because there's like when you bring in these animals
you have
or
to see
insects
how they're going to react to
that are not indigenous to the area. Yeah. One, we don't know if they're going to be able to survive here, and two, this is why they have customs in these different things because this fly probably got in here and it's not meant to live in our climate, and then now all of a sudden it's creating all this havoc. And what they do on the trees too is they put these like mud patches on, and they lay eggs, 50 to 100 eggs at a time. So I know this past year with Christmas trees, even though they don't feed on Christmas trees, people were concerned that the lanternfly would like hatch in their house and they'd have all these flies around. So it'd be a disaster. So the smart thing here is to bring in the natural enemy to knock it out. The concern is what happens to the wasps after that. Like, are the wasps going to hurt our local climate? And that's why they have all these laws in place, and that's why it could take 3 years. The funniest thing they said is if you want to, you can really. Everyone's like, you got to kill these things if you see them. I mean, what's stopping on one going to do?
Nothing.
Probably not a whole lot. So this is going to be something that we've got to deal with for the next couple of years. I mean, I love the solution here. There's certainly a lot of science behind it. It's like those movies that you see, not so much Outbreak, but what was there was a more recent one where there was a virus that happened, and it was like a pig-bat crossover. I can't remember what it was called.
I have no clue what that was.
It had Matt Damon in it, but it takes months to solve this.
Yeah.
Like, this is not going to be a quick fix. So this is why you have scientists. This is why people do this research where it can take a long time to come up with a solution. So the solution in theory sounds great. We're going to have to see what happens. In the meantime, I mean,
we'll follow up in 3 years.
Well, it's something we're going to have to deal with. I mean, it's a funny local story because people don't even really understand it. I mean, I just saw him for the first time over the past couple weeks here. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I like the idea. Hopefully there's other solutions besides just that are natural. I mean, this isn't like pesticides or anything like that. It's a natural predator.
Yes, I agree.
So next story, it sounds like we agreed on that one. Next story, and this one was personally I really like because
I knew you would.
So Peloton is a company that has on-demand workouts. They have a treadmill. They have a spinning bike. There's a screen on it, on demand in your house, live ride, all sorts of cool stuff. Just Google it. I'm sure most people know what we're talking about here. So they play music on the rides. And a while ago, there was a lawsuit that came out with certain artists that said they were suing because the usage of their songs was unauthorized. Mm-hmm. So once this suit dropped, they eliminated like 60% of the on-demand classes that were there because they had songs from these artists. Yeah, they came literally right off. I mean, there was some people that had 800-900 classes because they teach 5-6 a week. The company's been around 4 or 5 years now. So the artists, specifically Taylor Swift is one of them.
Ray Charles,
the Beatles. So now Peloton's preparing for an IPO, and all of a sudden the lawsuit, the amount of damages got doubled. Big surprise, and it's obviously it's a story again. So Jess, what do you think about all this?
So, I mean, do you know? And I was reading through the article. How are they getting their are they getting their music through Spotify? Like, who makes the playlist?
They have a deal with Spotify. They have a deal with Spotify, and I think the issue is that
that's where they get their music from.
Yes. Okay. Now I don't know if everyone authorized everything with Spot, but that was the original agreement.
Right. Well, that would be like us getting Like, I was like, what's the difference between me, my friend, doing a workout, playing some Taylor Swift in the background, posting it up on IGTV? Number one, not nearly as many people are going to watch. We don't get paid for it, like things like that. But there are all these videos on Instagram, too, of these, like, makeup artists, or not even makeup artists, just people doing makeup that have music by these artists put in the background as well. And some of them are influencers, and they get paid for it. So of course this was going to happen. Peloton keeps on growing. I mean, they're an $8 billion business now. So maybe comply with the license regulations or rules.
Well, obviously, I mean, they're a subscription as a service business. So you buy the hardware, but that's not where I mean, that the bike and the treadmill cost a couple $1,000s. Oof. The long-term revenue for this company is the monthly subscription that just went up $10 a month. I mean, that's how, and which is, for a lot of people, it's like, well, this is fine. It's cheaper than going to the gym. A spinning class alone would cost as much as it does for one. Like, the spinning class is $30 or $40, so that's the monthly subscription right there if you go once or twice. So the issue is Spotify geared up to go public last year. They filed with the SEC, and then it's very convoluted because these licenses, like this is why there's a lawsuit. So the amount of money that songwriters make through streaming services is really low, and the only way music artists really make money right now is by touring. That's where a lot of the revenue has come, where 20 years ago, it was all album sales. Yep. It was, I mean, before Napster and everything else. So this has been an ongoing battle for the music industry, and while I appreciate where the artists are coming from, Napster had dramatically changed everything. Like there were some artists that don't even know what it's like to make money off their album sales. I mean, you don't talk about this anymore. People buy songs, or if you get an Apple Music membership for $25 a month for your family, you can Google any song you want and play it on your phone. So I don't know that they're going to win the suit. I get why they're doing it, and look at the artists that are doing it too. It's not like it's up-and-coming artists. These are mega artists. I mean, Taylor Swift, the Beatles, Ray Charles. I mean, these are people that are household named. It's not your band that has one hit, or
they would love that.
or someone that's trying to sell out their tour. Yeah. I mean, so the issue here is that I get where these people are coming from. I understand it. What I also know is that the music industry needs to think how they're going to make money moving forward, and it's going to be in touring. That's really where it's going to come down to. So while the suit has, I mean, I didn't read the licenses. I'm not going to, there's probably some language in there that's being disputed. Obviously, if everyone is in agreement, they wouldn't have any music on there. Yeah. So, and it happens to be really popular artists. So that's why a lot of rides got taken off. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine this gets settled. Like 95% of lawsuits, do. I'm just looking at the stats, right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine it gets settled out of court. They probably pay these people off, and then they get everything back.
Okay. You think they're going to stick with Spotify, or they're going to go a different direction?
Who knows what their contract says? They might
Yeah.
be locked in.
Yeah.
You never know.
Interesting.
So it sounds like a little disagreement there.
A little disagreement, I think.
So I win, as usual. So sounds good.
Who
all
votes
right.
on that?
We got to get the fence here to actually, maybe an upvote system or something. Interesting real estate story here. This one really piqued my interest, and I'm glad we're talking about it. So Corcoran Group is a very large New York City-based real estate firm. They're part of they're part of Realogy. They're one of the Realogy brands. And Corcoran got cyber hacked. And what happened was there was a cyber hack on the computer systems of Corcoran a couple weeks ago, and they got the splits of all the agents in the office.
Yes.
So meaning the split is every company set up different. So basically they pay a portion of their commissions they earn to the brokerage. And that can vary based on whatever deal you cut. It's not you work here, this is the split. That's not how it is. Just like any other business. What do you think about all this?
To me, and I don't know if this is the case at all, but I think it sounds like an inside job. I think it sounds like somebody was trying to stir the pot, show some commission splits, GCI, the budget. I think someone was trying to show someone something. It's very juicy. But we see this this is very important. At least no client information was compromised, because that's what the most important thing here is, absolutely not. But we do see all these cyber hacks, and we really make our clients aware of them when it comes to even wiring money. You have to be really careful, and we really make sure it's secure, so none of the client's information, God forbid your wire was hacked and then your money goes somewhere completely different. So I feel like as technology develops and we're doing everything online, and you just have to be extra, extra, extra careful.
So I hear what you're saying.
Yes.
What I see this means is something totally different.
Okay.
Meaning that, because of the recruiting environment that's going on right now, where I have seen more agents jump from one company to another than ever before, where there's companies out there that are paying $1 million, $2 million signing bonuses to lock in people to join them, and the recruiting has gotten so aggressive, and there's big brokerages are suing each other all the time now. So what I would imagine, I don't know what happened. I mean, it could have been some hacker that wanted to make a quick buck. Who knows?
Yeah.
My point is that this information, it's out there. People know it. Whatever. The realtors that are up in arms, I got a very clear message for you. You want a better split? Go sell more houses. Bottom line, your production will dictate how much money you make, no matter what. The more real estate you sell, the more revenue you bring in, the better leverage you're going to have to negotiate. So everyone that's a little hurt or upset that this information got out there, work harder. That's my first message. The second is...
I can see that.
Well, think about it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone's selling 20 houses a year, and then you got a team selling 300 homes a year, who do you think is going to be able to negotiate the better split?
Yeah.
Because the broker doesn't look at it just on what's the percentage, it's what's the volume, what's the revenue. So that would be my first message for anyone that's up in arms about this. Sorry, Corcoran, anyone watching, go sell more houses. That's number one. Two,
aggressive.
And the biggest issue I see here is that the recruiting environment is going to get more aggressive. This is just something that, I see happening where there are so many people moving. I mean, we've seen the top agent from Berkshire Hathaway left and went to another company. Number one agent. He's one of the top in the country. He has a team, great agent. He left. We're seeing people that are on the Real Trends list, meaning the top 250 teams or individuals out there in the country. They are getting actively recruited with 7-figure signing bonuses being attached and matching their deal. What concerns me about this is that I don't know where all this money's coming from. I mean, are these companies even going to be around more? Are these brokerages going to be able to survive? Because they're always under attack by these startups, and really, it's them competing with each other. My biggest concern is the consumer. That's all. That's our number one here. Our consumer, the people that work on our team. So the fact that all this is going on, how does the consumer benefit from this? And all I see is people jumping around trying to get more money, better splits, better terms. Maybe they want a better physical office space, whatever. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. My issue is all this nonsense and what people are focusing on, why aren't the consumers getting the same attention? And that's where companies like Zillow, like Open Door, Redfin, because they're not really a traditional real estate brokerage.
coming in,
well, everyone's
focusing on
fighting
them.
against each other.
Yep. Fighting
and
a different fight.
Doing this BS, I mean, that's fine. You want someone split, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. These other companies are making strategic changes to try to win because it's not going to be company versus company down the line. I'm clear it's going to be the tech-based companies versus the traditional real estate brokerage. So who's going to win here? That's the big question. So, with this, I mean, it's just another
Completely
example.
different side than where I was going.
Well, but look at how much we talk about this on the show. I mean, this stuff has been on here. Realogy suing Compass, or Compass is getting sued again, or Zillow's doing this. I mean, these are Zillow's the competition for a lot of these big companies.
And they're letting the other ones fight it out.
Well, and what's happening is that the real estate brokerages, they probably need to support their agents a little more and their existing teams and the people that are producing for them, because these guys that are suing each other are worried about the splits. They're not in the trenches with the customers every day. And you look at companies like Nordstrom, they're all about the people on the ground. They're all about their salespeople because that's what makes the experience what it is when you go to Nordstrom's.
Yep, 100%.
So the story's interesting. I mean, it sucks if you work at Corcoran, I guess, or maybe you don't care, or maybe Corcoran's the one that's really in trouble because they got to deal with all this now.
Yeah.
Because they probably see the guy who's like, oh, that idiot up the hall is getting a better split than me. So
I'm saying stir in the pot, but I like your approach. Your take on it a lot more, actually.
Well, this is a big wake-up call for the real estate industry. I mean, there's going to be more of this stuff happening. So not necessarily cyber hacks, but the aggressive recruiting practices.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of these lawsuits we talked about on the show. So if people don't get a wake-up call and really start to focus on what's really going on, I know that's where my focus has been. That's where our focus has been as a team. If you're not doing that on your own level, you might find out when it's too late.
Good advice. All right, so some inspiration from Dale Carnegie. I was actually, we got recommended a book from our coach, Jeff Mays.
Okay.
He said how to win friends and influence people. So I got the podcast. So I was looking up and just listening to some great quotes from him. And he says, remember today is the tomorrow you were worried about yesterday, which was speaking to me today. You want to go first?
Why did it speak to you today?
I was so caught up, even for the last few days, on a settlement that was going to happen today and all of these issues that were arising with it. And it's today, it's working out. Basically, what it's saying to me is you're always going to be worried about something, and it's, there's going to be a result. Either it's going to work out or it's not. You need to focus on, like you were saying, activities that are really going to move the needle in your business. Don't worry about what's going to happen or what's to come tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to come and it's going to work itself out. And then
I don't know that I said that to you. I asked you some questions that got you there. Yeah. Very different, and I that's why you
didn't
probably
say it. You
remember.
Did ask me. Yes.
So, but to that point, everyone they're always worried and freaked out. And there's a book out there, and if you haven't read it, it's by Mark Manson. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
I have that book.
So
I never read it though.
Well, is it collecting dust in your house?
Right now it is.
So it's a book where, very similar to this quote, where they talk about you need to be more judicious with the things you really give an F about or really care about. We can substitute the language. I mean, it's a shocking title. It's pretty cool.
You can bleep it out. Even though we're not saying it.
We're not saying it. That book, the whole basis point is you need to be. It's not that you need to stop caring about everything. You need to be more judicious with the things you care about. Mm-hmm. So, for example, your situation today.
Yep.
It all worked itself out.
It did.
And you spent all this time getting worried, getting scared, getting anxious, and usually what comes from fear is paralysis, and then you probably weren't able to do the other stuff you really wanted to do. And that's the biggest challenge for a lot of people. I mean, in business, they get afraid of what's going to happen instead of, hey, let's just see what happens, and I'm going to do what my plan dictates that I need to do every day. So for me, I mean, the real estate side of this, I tell everyone there's really like only one emergency in real estate. It's when the house burns down, and then what am I going to do? I'm not a firefighter, right? So this is exactly what that quote talks about. And look, Dale Carnegie knows what's up, right? Yeah. I mean, he built.
It's a great book that
he built a huge business. I mean, one of that gets studied in business schools. I mean, people, they do all these things. So when you look at what you're caring about, it's really critical to think about, like, is it worth getting worked up about? And if it's not, What do you need to make that happen? Or is the problem still going to be there later when you get the stuff you need to get done? Like if you want to work out in the morning, well, don't not work out and not do that. Why don't you do the workout and then, all right, I'll deal with it afterwards. I mean, that
So
to me
true.
is like is the best approach with these things, because it's really ultimately you got to be careful about what you're really getting like invested in.
Yes.
And I'm not saying we're not invested in our clients. It's more invested in the outcome.
Yes. It was great advice today. It really helped me out.
Cool. I'm glad you picked
Thank
the quote.
you.
It
Yes.
was a good one here. Another episode in the can. I guess they don't say that
Do
anymore
we know
because
what
it's all
number
digital.
this is? What episode this is?
It's the current episode.
We'll have to
Catch
have
you
a
guys
party
next
for like
week.
100.